3, 2, 1.
So hello everyone. For me, I focused on taking 2 mocks every single day. The reason for this was this gave me a lot of confidence and also prepared me mentally for the stress to be handled very easily. Along with this, I would also spend some time in taking extra topic tests because I always focus on practicing more about the test rather than just the theory.
So there was nothing really different that I did in the last month leading to the CAT exam. I used to solve 5 sets a day of a mix of DI and LR, and I increased that number to 10 sets a day. So that helped me really get into the zone of trying to crack those difficult DI and LR sets. It could be games and tournaments, it could be scheduling.
During the last months, I used to give a lot of mocks. I used to give a mock on a daily basis. And the key aspect was to analyze those mocks. Especially to DILR, I think most of you are able to attempt just 2 or 3 sets out of the 4 available. So the ones that you are leaving behind, I used to make sure that I am attempting those as well once I have given the paper in the timed format.
Strategy would be giving mocks and mocks. As much of mocks you can give, you should go for it. Especially if you are working, so you don't end up getting a lot of time to practice. So my strategy was to give mocks because you end up practicing different types of questions and not just restrict yourself to just one topic. And 66 questions per mock. So in a week you end up solving like 180 questions.
So I think mocks give you a more holistic view as to where you stand in the crowd. It gives you the actual real-time information as to what all things you need to work upon, how well are you able to handle the pressure in a timed manner. Whereas practice is something that you usually don't do in a very timely manner. You are just attempting questions in your own free time. So yeah, I think if I were to choose, I would choose giving more mocks over practicing in pre-questions.
So that depends on when you are starting with your preparation. If you're starting in the month of June or July, I would recommend that you practice initially, go topic-wise, and then start giving the mocks. But if you are somebody who have decided to give CAT in the month of August or September or something, so I would recommend you to go for mocks more than practice because you won't have that much time to go chapter-wise.
So personally for me, giving mocks was practice. However, specifically for DILR, I would attempt the sectional mocks that are available. That helped me spend more time doing DILR mocks, and I spent at least 2 to 3 hours analyzing each mock. So usually there are 4 sets in a particular DILR section. So I would analyze my solutions to see how much time I've spent doing a particular set, where I have gone wrong. And of course, you can't solve all 4 sets in a given amount of time. So I would also spend more time post the mock trying to solve those sets that I wasn't able to solve.
So I would focus regularly on practicing 1 mock, and along with that I would spend a few hours watching YouTube videos. For DILR, I was very focused on ensuring that along with the mock, I also solve a couple of mock tests of IMF, because IMF provides 2 very solvable sets in every mock and 2 very difficult sets. So that's what my focus and strategy was. So for me, it's the most important thing to be calm during our examination, because that is where a lot of people mess it up. What's necessary is that you find some sort of a music or a tune or some religious mantra which helps you stay calm. That's what I did, and it really helped me keep my nerves during the examination.
So I was very clear in my head that if I solve 2 sets, I'll get more than 99% in DILR. And DILR was one of my stronger sections. So I was very clear that the first 5 to 10 minutes, I'm going to gauge all the 4 sets that I have in hand and rank them and go for the easiest 2. Generally, there is one set which is pretty easy to moderate, and there is one set which is pretty difficult. So if you end up starting with that set, you will end up wasting a lot of time. So the first 5 to 10 minutes, I decide on which sets to target, and 15 minutes each. So 2 sets was my D-Day strategy, and that is what I did.
So on the D-Day, you have to solve at least 2 sets if you want to cross the 99th percentile in the DILR section. So that was my strategy. CAT is an exam of accuracy and speed. So if you can accurately solve 2 sets, you are well ahead of the curve. So I would spend the first 5 minutes selecting the 2 right sets for me. I would also look at how many typing the answer questions are there in the section, because those questions are no risk but high reward if you get them right.
So on the final day, the key was to maintain my composure, not panic a lot. Although the 1.5 hours that you're made to sit just before the paper, those instill in you a feeling of anxiety and panic. But the key is to make sure that you're not getting panic in those situations. You're keeping your calm. You are clear in your head. You're clear with your strategies, what you want to do. You're clear in what type of questions you want to pick, what type of sets you want to pick from the DILR section.
I think that I was able to do those 2 sets in like 35 minutes, I guess. But I was so hellbound on that I need to do only 2 sets. I did not push myself much. I think that I could have at least started with 1 more set and attempted a couple of questions at least.
Personally, I started preparing for the DILR section quite late during my preparation phase. So that is something that I would have done differently, because DILR is make and break. On the D-Day itself, I was able to solve only 2 sets. Had I practiced more, I would have been able to maybe crack 3 sets and improve my scores even more.
I think for most of them, they might have something different planned. But for me, I think I was lucky enough to have chosen the right sets on the day. So for me, I'll not change anything in particular on my final day, because I was able to solve 3 sets and I was able to get that 3 spot on. So I don't think that I'll change anything on my final day.
So for the DILR section, after I had already solved 3 sets, I still had more than 3 minutes left. Instead of having wasted the time, I would have used those 3 minutes to solve even the 4th set. It felt that it was very difficult, because of which I didn't approach it. But later on, I realized that it was actually the easiest set. So that is what I would have done.
To all the aspirants, remember that CAT is just an aptitude exam. There are a lot of other things that someone can pursue. So treat the exam just like that. It's just an exam. Remember to do things that you enjoy. It could be reading books, playing games, hanging out with friends. And at the same time, remember to stay physically fit and eat healthy and sleep right. That will keep you sharp for the D-Day.
I think for a lot of people, DILR is something that scares people a lot, because it all comes down on the final day, whether you are able to pick the right set or not, whether you are able to crack that set or not. But then you need to make sure that you are not overthinking stuff. You are sticking to your strengths. And coming to stress and all of these things, I think you should talk to your friends. You should have a close-knit group wherein people are giving the exam with you. So that ensures that you have a healthy competition as well.
So I had a very weak DILR section. I was barely able to solve even a single set while I was preparing for CAT. So in the last 1 month, I decided, and I was solving more than 12 to 13 single sets every day. So that is what you have to understand. You have to understand what your weak points and pain points are, and you have to work on that. And you need to have the belief that it is possible for you to score that high. Only then can you do it.
Thank you.
To be very honest, once the question paper is up, your stress takes a back seat. All you want to do is just go questions after questions. So one advice or one suggestion would be that even if you feel that you can solve that particular question, but if you feel that question is time consuming, skip it and go for the next one, even if you would have been able to do the question, because time is of essence here. So after the exam, you shouldn't have any regrets that at the end of the question paper there were some simple questions. So make it a point that you go through the entire question paper and you mark the questions which you think that if you get the time you can come back to.